It's the big revenue sharing, land grant school funding. It's the state's responsibility from revenue from the state resources to fund all the schools. It shouldn't be shifted onto the local property taxpayer. The third way is to split the property tax off improvements so people are free to improve, and that would mean make it higher on vacant commercial land in the middle of town. Make web pages for folks. And lots of YouTube.com web pages to get information out. I have about 120 YouTube.com pages out. Native Arts Festival, International Polar Year, various other subjects, all on YouTube so people can share them. 32 years I've lived in Fairbanks, and I've run for office 16 times. Small farming town. I was president of my high school student council. I saw you could have a lot of power when you're at the top. You get to introduce people who are visiting the school, and you're right in the middle of things. If there's a problem, they all come to you. So being president of my high school student council got me rolling, and ever since then I've spoken out on issues. Public transit, other issues I've spoken out all the time. In the last 16 years I've run for public office every year. In fact, the only one who's brought up public transportation as an issue for the last 16 years. It's a key thing for our borough government, but nobody else seems to address it. And I'm so happy we finally added evening bus service this last month. Just those few extra hours makes the whole system twice as useful.
And new buses.
And new buses that are highly efficient.
Yeah.
They're very accessible. They kneel down if somebody needs to get on. It's handicapped, so
That's great.
I would like to see an expansion of the bus system, outlying areas as soon as we can, and make the system more comprehensive where you have a main loop that's an express loop that doesn't stop, and neighborhood lines that meet up with that. So the core is fast and then reaches the sidelines not quite as fast.
Why are you running for borough assembly?
Because I have a vision for the future, such as, why don't we build a railroad through Canada to link the United States with the rest of the world through Alaska's airports? Now this is a way we could take our natural gas and use it to electrify a railroad to bring passengers and goods to Alaska and through our airports to the rest of the world. This would bring us long-term, high-paying jobs far into the future, even after the natural gas is gone. So this would be a way we could use the natural gas to improve infrastructure for our long-term benefit instead of just selling it. If we do just sell it, we need to invest all the money to a big permanent fund. But a railroad to Alaska would bring us tourism and freight and traffic for a long time for high-paying jobs.
Why should voters choose you?
I have consistently brought up key issues: public transportation, no on the sales tax. Boy, how many times have we voted that down? 6 times in the city, once in the borough in the last 21 years. We've said no sales tax enough times. I hope there's a big turnout this year to vote no on the sales tax. Now, the sales tax is touted as being a way to reduce property taxes. It will not do that. But the 3 ways to reduce property taxes are to increase the homeowner exemption. Right now it's 20 grand. Make it 100 grand off the top before you're taxed on your home. There's bills in the works on that. Wolfgang Falk has a petition to that effect at alaskafundamental.law.com. The second way to reduce local property taxes is the big revenue sharing, land grant school funding. It's the state's responsibility from revenue from the state resources to fund all the schools. It shouldn't be shifted onto the local property taxpayer. The third way is to split the property tax off improvements so people are free to improve, and that would mean make it higher on vacant commercial land in the middle of town, which would bring that land back into use. It would end idle land speculation, so our city would become more efficient instead of sprawling out and becoming less efficient, which is a further reduction in taxes in the future. I've always supported recycling. We should have a better transfer area, maybe a second platform for just building materials, and the first one for household stuff, maybe even an attendant at the transfer areas, a volunteer trained attendant who keeps an eye on things and will help people mark their goods if they need something fixed or if they're just been washed and folded, and to make sure that stuff is well used. And to make sure kids aren't coming there smashing things at night and that kind of stuff. But recycling helps a lot of people. A lot of younger families get materials there for building their first home. We want to help people secure their own homes. Homeowner exemption, helping recycling, help people get in their home and keep it. The more people that own their own home, the better we all are. That turns them into investors, into long-term planners. Their children grow up seeing mom and dad working on the house and learn skills. That's why we want to encourage home ownership.
What makes you stand out above your competition?
I raise certain issues nobody else raises, like public transit. The homeowner exemption 3 years ago, and we raised it to 10 to 20 grand off the top. I campaigned for that. And it's kind of tough, but I've exposed a lot of corruption at Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation. Boy, there's a waste of money. What are they doing to develop our economy? We should take that same money and put it into schools and public transit and basic stuff that the borough is supposed to be doing anyway. That's the way to help the economy. Help people be well educated and help them actually get to work. The Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation and the corruption involving the sale of the utilities in the city are both the issues that I've brought up, published stuff on the internet, exposed it, got other agencies involved in correcting those problems. So exposing corruption, I'd rather not do it. I'd rather be working proactive on fun issues. But if I see corruption, I've got to expose it. I've got to bring it to the public. And I do.
What issues, in your opinion, do you believe the borough faces in the next coming up months and years to come?
Well, to straighten out what borough government's all supposed to be about in the first place. Like public transportation, it costs money. No, it saves money. It saves way more than it costs. It saves on traffic accidents, on road construction costs, and it serves all the people. A lot of people wouldn't need to get a second car if we had a full-time bus system. So that's my whole philosophy about government, isn't just looking at one issue at a time, but see how it all ties together. Public transportation would save us on state and federal road money. Then we can ask the state and fed for more of our revenue sharing for other things here locally to save us all around. So how all issues are connected. Just like schools. Schools save on jails. If you've got a well-educated populace, you've got less crime. That's why I want to be proactive and get at these issues.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add, or any last thing you would like to say on why the voters should choose you?
Because we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Vote for me, Dae Miles.
Thank you. I appreciate all your time. And
Smile for the camera.
please don't put me on YouTube.
You want to be famous?
Not that way.